Good morning, students. Today we'll start with the second part of this chapter, that is life process. In last lecture, we have already discussed about the process of photosynthesis, the balanced reaction of photosynthesis. Okay, so let us take a quick reply of photosynthesis. Okay, photosynthesis is the process in which carbon dioxide and water combine each other in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, and produces glucose, or we can say carbohydrate, and releases oxygen in the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide plus water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll produces glucose, okay, and releases the oxygen. Then glucose is converted into the starch, and that starch is finally stored into the plants in a form of the food. Okay, so this is the reaction. Now we have to balance it. So 6 plus 6 and here 6, so the reaction will be balanced. Clear? So you write down this reaction. Okay, I'm giving you 1 minute. Write down it fast. Okay, now we'll see the mechanism of photosynthesis. The mechanism for the process of photosynthesis. The first step in the mechanism of photosynthesis is absorption of sunlight. Absorption of sunlight. Second, conversion of sunlight, or you can say solar energy into chemical energy. Okay. Third is carbon dioxide reduces to carbohydrates, and the final is water splits into oxygen. Okay, this is the mechanism of photosynthesis. This is the mechanism for the photosynthesis: absorption of sunlight, conversion of sunlight, that is conversion of solar energy into chemical energy. Conversion of solar energy into chemical energy. Next is reduces or reduction of carbon dioxide into carbohydrate, and the final one is water. Okay, water is split into the oxygen. Now I have used one word, that is carbon dioxide is reduces. What is the meaning of reduction? And how carbon dioxide is reduced? So we'll see. In the first chapter we have already studied the oxidation reaction and reduction reaction. So according to the definition of the reduction reaction, we have understood that when any substance gain hydrogen or loses oxygen, then that process is known as reduction. Any substance or any element gain hydrogen or loses oxygen, then that product is known as reduction. Now here carbon is directly combined with the oxygen, but here the carbon is directly combined with the hydrogen. So the reduction process is there. Now we can understand, here there is no hydrogen with the carbon, and here carbon is attached with the hydrogen. Okay, that is also known as reduction. Clear? So write down the mechanism of photosynthesis quickly. So next is the raw material for the process of photosynthesis. What are the raw material for the process of photosynthesis? See, the raw material, if the question is asked in the examination, what are the raw material used for the process of photosynthesis, then we can say the first raw material for the process of photosynthesis is carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. There are four raw materials. There are four raw materials. First is carbon dioxide, second is water, third is sunlight, and fourth is chlorophyll. Okay, there are four raw material for the processes of photosynthesis. In the process or in the reaction of photosynthesis, there are four raw materials: carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and chlorophyll. Okay, so we have understood the mechanism of photosynthesis and the raw material used for photosynthesis. See, students, in this concept there can be asked four types of questions. First, define photosynthesis only for 1 mark. Define photosynthesis with the help of balanced chemical reaction for 2 marks. Define photosynthesis with mechanism, that can be asked for 3 marks. Or a separate 1 mark question can be asked, what are the raw material uses for the processes of photosynthesis? Clear? Now we are proceeding towards factor affecting photosynthesis. Which are the factor which affects the rate of photosynthesis? Okay, so there are also a 4 factor which affects the rate of photosynthesis. First is light. Okay, first is light, second is carbon dioxide, third is water and fourth is temperature. Okay, so these are the 4 factors which affect the rate of photosynthesis. First, light. See, for the process of photosynthesis, there should be high intensity of light. Okay, for the process of photosynthesis, there should be good intensity of light. There should be good intensity of light, but very high intensity can reduce the rate of photosynthesis. Okay. Then next, see, there should be a good intensity of light. Okay, there should be a good intensity of light for the processes of photosynthesis, but very high intensity. If the intensity of light is very high, then the process of photosynthesis can be reduced, or the rate of photosynthesis can be reduced. Second is carbon dioxide. Okay, for carbon dioxide, see, there are carbon dioxide is present in our environment in a certain concentration. Okay, so for the plant there should be a high concentration of carbon dioxide. Okay, for the photosynthesis there should be a good, or we can say optimum level of carbon dioxide is required. But if there is a level of carbon dioxide in our environment is very high, then the carbon dioxide would be toxic for the processes of photosynthesis. The rate of photosynthesis decreases with a very high intensity of carbon dioxide. If the concentration of carbon dioxide is very high, the rate of photosynthesis decreases. Then water, as we know that water, okay, so water is the main factor, okay, one of the most important factors for the process of photosynthesis. But if there is a low concentration of water is available, okay, if the roots are unable to suck, okay, if the roots are unable to suck or absorb the sufficient amount of water, then the rate of photosynthesis will be directly decreases. Okay, and temperature, the temperature for the dark reaction, the temperature for the dark reaction in chloroplast. Okay, for the dark reaction in chloroplast, the temperature should be 20 degree to 40 degree Celsius. 20 degree Celsius to 40 degree Celsius. Okay, below 20 degree Celsius is affect the rate of photosynthesis. Okay, below 20 degree Celsius and above 40 degree Celsius will directly affect the rate of photosynthesis. Okay, so these are the most important factors which affect the rate of photosynthesis. Clear? Light, carbon dioxide, water and temperature. Okay. Okay. The next concept is the cut section of leaf. In our textbook, the topic is given cut section of leaf. Okay, the cut section of leaf is given the diagram of cut section of leaf. Okay, so very easy diagram is there for the cut section of leaf, and the diagram can become for 2 marks. For the 2 marks, they will ask the diagram for the cut section of leaves. Okay, now see. Then okay, so this is the diagram for the cut section of leaf. Now we will label the diagram. Okay, this is the upper epidermis. This is the lower epidermis. Now see, these small granule-like structures, are known as chloroplast. Okay, and this cylindrical cells and circular cells are known as mesophils. Mesophil cells. Okay, this is upper epidermis, lower epidermis, chloroplast. The chloroplast should be in green color, but due to unavailability of the green color marker, I have drawn this small granules or small pigments with the help of blue marker, because green marker is not available. So in your notebook, when you will draw this diagram, you have to draw these small granules with the help of green color. Okay, with the help of green color. That green color pigments are known as chloroplast, upper epidermis, lower epidermis, and these cells, these two type of cells are known as mesophil cells. Here there is one layer. Okay, here there is one layer, and this layer is known as cuticle. Okay, it is known as cuticle. Then this intercellular spaces are there. We can know the air bladder. These intercellular spaces which are available two type of cell are known as guard cells. So this is the diagram for the cut section of leaf. First cuticle, okay, then upper epidermis, lower epidermis, mesophyll cells, air bladder. The gaps which are available are known as air bladder. Okay, these two cells are known as guard cells. Okay, these two cells are known as guard cells, air bladder, and these two type of cells are known as mesophyll cell. Okay, the vertical cell and cylindrical cells are known as mesophyll cells. Okay, you can see the diagram carefully. Okay, so this is the cut section of leaf. This can become for the 2 marks in your examination. Then there is very important structure on the leaf. Okay, that structure is known as stomata. Okay, stomata. The next concept or the next topic is stomata. Okay, see, if this is the structure of leaf, so this is the upper layer and this is lower layer. So on the upper or on the lower layer there are small pores are present. Okay, on the upper layer of leaves or on the lower layer of leaves there are small pores are present, and that pores are known as the stomata. Okay, so the tiny pores which are present on the surface of leaf are known as stomata. Okay, the detailed structure of stomata we'll see. Okay, but now you have to understand what is actually the stomata is. The stomata are the tiny pores which are present on the surface of leaves are known as stomata. Now, what is the meaning of pores? Pores means holes. Okay, pores means holes. The tiny holes or the tiny pores which are present on the surface of the leaves, then that holes are known as the stomata. Okay, now what are the functions of stomata? We'll see. Okay, stomata helps in gaseous exchange function. First, stomata helps in gaseous exchange, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide, and second is stomata helps in transpiration. Okay, the first function of stomata is the stomata help in the gaseous exchange. Okay, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide, and the stomata helps in the transpiration. Now I know that there will be one question in your mind: what is transpiration? Okay, what is transpiration? So the transpiration see, the transpiration is when the roots of the plant absorbs excess amount of water, then that excess amount of water is released in the environment in form of the vapor. Okay, in form of the vapor, and this process is known as the transpiration. Okay, when the roots of the plant absorbs excess amount of water, and if the excess amount of water is released into the environment, okay, is released into the environment in form of vapor, is known as transpiration. And from where the transpiration process is carried out? From stomata, that is from the tiny holes of the leaves, the excess amount of water in form of vapor is released into the environment. So what is transpiration? So it is the process of release of excess water in form of vapors from stomata. Okay, stomata. It is the process of release of excess water in form of the vapors from the stomata is known as transpiration. It is known as transpiration. Clear? Now, okay, if you want to write the function, you can write. Okay, next is the structure of stomata. Okay, the structure of stomata and the open and closed mechanism of stomata, opening and closing mechanism of stomata, when the stomata gets opened or when the stomata gets closed. Okay, so this topic will be continued in the next lecture. I hope you have understood what we have learned today. If there is any question regarding today's content, then you can ask on the Google Meet app. Clear? Thank you.